Everybody? Welcome to the IAG Thursday Thing. This thing we do every Thursday where we all hang out and we chat like we're in a parking lot meet. And it's one of my favorite things to do. And hang out with the community and chat with y'all. Let's we got a great topic today. I am joined, as usual, by my partner in crime, Warranty. Warranty, how you doing today? You were a little late, but that's all right.
I'm a little bit late. I ate a cold Big Mac and awful fries from McDonald's, and I'm here now. So this is going to be the best part of my day. Let's do it.
Well, hopefully you don't get salmonella or something god awful from eating old garbage. And I also want to throw a big thank you out to producer Jordan, who's in the background, who basically does all our editing and helps us with the Discord and keeping stuff together. It's super sick, and we couldn't do it without him. Producer Jordan's one of our man. He's like the third leg, my guy. I tell you.
Shout out to producer Jordan. He's the one that makes the dream work.
Teamwork make a dream work. Let me tell you.
That's the third leg that hangs down.
Producer Jordan, he called you a phallic thing. Okay. And also want to special thank you to Randy, who makes all our thumbnails and gives us fun show ideas. And Randy's also somebody in the background who helps out a ton.
And thanks to IAG, there's some new equipment coming soon, and we're going to use it, and it's going to be fantastic.
That's actually kind of a pretty sick announcement. I think the production quality of the show might be taking a pretty serious bounce here soon. We're looking at, looks like some budget just got approved for some new podcast equipment, and we're excited. Anybody who's down for making jingles, I think we need some jingles.
I'll tell you what now. Sponsored by IAG Performance. You didn't buy a Camry, so stop acting like it.
I'm telling you, man, it's going to be good. We're going to make a shitload of those, and we're just going to have them on cue.
Yep. Everybody drop it in the chat or send it to me on the side. What you want me to say in my best public radio voice.
Yep. I want public radio short announcements. Okay? Let's get as many as we can. Maybe make a thread. We'll get a thread going on the IAG Insiders Lounge. Speaking of, let's talk about, we are on Discord right now recording this. We do this every week at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. If you're listening here in the audience live, I love you guys. I love you to pieces. Do us a solid. Share it up after this gets uploaded to Spotify and Apple. We are really trying to up our numbers on especially Spotify. So if you can, share that link and leave us a comment. Can you leave us a comment in there? Even if it's just like poop? I don't care. Just put something in there. And it really helps the algorithm and helps stir it up. The more people we got doing this, the better this podcast is going to get. And man, I am so excited about some new equipment.
Oh, dude, it's going to be great.
It's going to get real silly real fast. Okay, it's going to get nuts.
We'll take over the world.
IAG, we break stuff so you don't have to. we're gonna have a great time. Either way, I'm kind of stoked about today's episode. Now, today's episode was supposed to be something completely different. I can't really talk about it, but I can tell you when it does happen, it's going to be epic. But so this kind of got made up at the last second, but it got spawned by some people who needed a truth bomb, and you and I started bouncing these back and forth to each other of things that kind of need to be said, and they're basically tough pills to swallow. Okay.
Yeah, we came up with about 100 of them in like 2 hours.
Yeah, I just kept tossing them in the chat. So there's a pile of them. Some of them might hit, some of them might not. If you agree, if you don't, let us know. I want to hear it. If you have more of them, I'd love to hear them in the chat too. So guys in the chat, ladies in the chat, let's see it. So these should be fun though. First thing I want to say about this though is I love the Subaru community. Okay. Everything good in my life, and I've said this before, the vast majority of what's good in my life has come from the Subaru community in one way or another. My wife, my kids, my job, the majority of my friends, my passion, all of it stems from the Subaru community in one way or another. It just does. So some of this is tongue in cheek, but some of this is some truth that needs to be said. Maybe I wish somebody would have said some of this to me when I was, maybe getting into this or whatever. Okay. So, yeah, I mean, you got the list, buddy. So maybe,
I've got the list.
maybe drop one and we'll talk about it.
Yeah, so we got so many of these. I figure we talk about each one for a minute or less, and we'll be here all day
We'll,
anyway.
we'll try. Some of them I guarantee we're going to get hung up on a little bit. Some of them are probably going to blow right through. So
Yeah, sounds good. And this is going to be all over the place. So top of the list is more than 400 horsepower on an FA engine. It's not worth doing.
yeah, I'm going to put a caveat to that. More than 400 horsepower in a 2015 to 2021 WRX, 2022. I don't remember the last year they did the FA20. It's just not worth it, guys. Like, they're awesome daily drivers, all right? But at a certain point, you really got to ask yourself, what the hell am I doing? The amount of money you have to put into it, to add port injection, because you will be out of fueling, is insane. Now, if you keep it 400 or less, they're awesome daily drivers. I'm not going to say that stock engine's going to last at 400 horsepower. You stick an IAG 600 in there, very basic rod piston engine with some oiling improvements. Awesome setup. But you really don't, when you go past that, you start adding it up. Unless you have some very specific reason you need to stick with the FA, either get one of the new WRXs with FA24 that's already proving to be significantly better, or you need to get an STI and you got a beaten path to whatever you want to do.
Yep, totally agree. Next one, RA blocks are not special.
No, geez. I mean, there's another one that we're going to get to this is why I wanted to make this list and chop a bunch of stuff up, because some of them are kind of repeating.
Oh, yeah.
What I'm actually going to change this one. If it seems too good to be true, it probably is. Okay? Because this is going to encompass a few things. One, Uncle Scotty's cocktail. Okay? Rest in peace, Uncle Scotty.
Yeah, that was from forever ago. Don't mix your transmission fluid. That's not special. It can help you.
Well, don't put Redline Shockproof mixed with a bunch of other shit. You can't make this crazy little cocktail that's going to make your synchros just be better. Okay? If your synchros are trashed, you have a mechanical problem and you have to fix that. Okay? Fancy fluid is not going to fix the problem. Uncle Scotty's cocktail is crap. Okay? Next thing.
Bear in mind, that was from a long time ago, but we still hear about people using it here and there. Not very often, but it's worth mentioning.
The next one that has popped up time and time again over the past, as long as I've been doing this shit since I got my 02 WRX in 02, okay? Blast plates on a 5-speed. They don't work. There's always a company out there trying to stick blast plates, which are basically these big heavy plates. The long bolts that run through the 5-speed, they like bolt these plates onto it to try to stop the case from flexing. Like the case flex was the only reason these things broke.
Right. It's also the size of the gears.
The size of the gears and the main shaft. The whole thing is just not designed for serious power. Blast plates are crap. And then the last one, do you really think in the very last generation of EJs that Subaru was just going to come down off of their throne and bestow upon the community an engine that can eat 600 horsepower reliably? RA blocks are just as shit as any other stock 2.5 liter turbo block. Okay, not only that, the cases themselves are made of a less hard material. It's a softer material.
So it flexes more.
it flexes more, and you actually run into issues of it holding torque correctly. If you try to add bigger head studs or anything like that. And the change to the piston was only on the bottom side where they added some meat down there. You're not getting, you still have the same ringland issues. You still have the same bearing issues. All of the same problems still exist. It's still open deck. Okay, so you still have the cylinder wall flexing problems.
Semi-closed for you STI nerds out there, but still,
whatever.
Semi-closed is not closed.
Open. I'm done calling it semi-closed deck. It's open. Okay, those little tabs that are on the top and the bottom aren't doing shit. All right, it's still the same problem. Can't stress it enough. You only get one thing out of what you. If it seems too good to be true, it is. Subaru's not going to hand you a $2,200 block that's good for 600 wheel. It doesn't exist.
Doesn't exist.
Okay.
Next, 6-cylinder engines suck because the blocks are weak. Same answer. There isn't a billet option out there.
No, this is just it. Like, we get this all the time. Why don't you build stuff for the H6? Honestly, one, there's no market for it. There's 20 of you guys in the country, and I love you to pieces. There's 20 of you guys in the country, and they're crap. Okay. Two, if you want to know why they're crap, have a conversation with our boy Tanner, Smedia.
Mr. Smedia.
And he'll tell you all about it. Those blocks are not set up for big power for shit. They were never designed to make big power. They have more displacement, but they're not designed for big turbocharging high boost power. And you can't put bigger head studs in it and just pulls them out, and they desperately need it. So it's not the answer. It's not the answer. And no, the aftermarket's not going to fix it because there's only like 20 of you guys out there. And you got to think, if we put an H6 in it, then we have to have a whole line of radiators. We have to have a whole line of headers. We're going to have to redo all the turbo kits. We're going to have to redo everything. It ain't worth it. It ain't worth it when you can do the same thing with an effing EJ. Stop. Okay.
Next, you are never going to win that roll race versus a turbo Z06 Corvette.
I love you guys, okay? There are a lot of you dudes making big power out there, and I love you big power streetcar guys. And I gotta be real, nothing's funnier than putting a freight train on a Mustang, you know, in a roll race, or any Corvette. It's a riot. But look, that guy who shows up with that built ZR1, okay? That guy that shows up with two giant turbos, and, you know, he's making 1,500 plus wheel, and he's all about that roll race life, or, you know, underground racing or whatever. Those guys who are doing serious roll racing, it's not happening in a Subaru. Okay,
they're shaped like bricks.
They're shaped like bricks. You're only dealing with 2.5 liters of displacement. Okay, and there's only so much power you can make for it to make sense. And not only that, we start to run into serious head issues past 1,000 horsepower. I'm not saying you can't make more. I'm just saying we start running into problems. Okay, they're just not set up for it. I love you guys. You guys want to make that big power, it's cool, and I'm all for it. But you can't expect miracles, okay? But I tell you what, when you do it with a Subaru, you break the internet. There's a ton of fast Corvettes out there.
Next one, flip side of the same coin. Doing it for the memes is a valid reason.
Yes. So let's talk about this. There's a lot of people out there who are like, man, this is a positive towards the Subaru community. You want to do this, you know, make these big power cars. Hell, if you want to build an FA to make 600 horsepower, if your reasoning for doing it is doing it for the memes, you're doing it because shenanigans, you're doing it, and you don't give a shit what anybody says, that is a valid reason. And I don't, it's up to the rest of the community to not shit on them for doing it. Now, it may not turn out, but you can do it for the memes. If you want to build a, you know, 2008 Forester NA into some drag monster, you can do that. You know, if you want to build a time, if you're doing it for the memes, but also do not expect it to have giant advantages over the tried and true paths that everybody else takes. And don't get mad when it doesn't work. And also don't get mad when, you know, there aren't parts for you.
Yep. Big power Outbacks, they're great because it's an Outback. Nobody expects an Outback.
That doesn't make it, and you're doing it for the meme. I'm all for it. Okay, but it better be for the meme. Don't try to sit here and argue with me that it's the right answer, Dylan.
Because it's not. Next, the 22B is not great by modern standards.
No, the 20. This is a very. No, I got to be real. I've never personally driven a 22B. I have driven Japanese domestic market GC STIs and WRXs. And with that stated, this is a situation where you shouldn't meet your heroes. Okay. And you get people who are just like, they get gaga over this car and they hear all these mystical stories. It actually made 400 of the wheels. No, it didn't. Okay. It made a little bit extra mid-range torque, but it didn't have AVCS. Okay. It wasn't that great.
Wasn't it on a 5-speed as well?
Yeah. It had DCCD, but it was on a 5-speed. It still had all the same Subaru problems that 5-speed, those cars had. Like, it had issues. Don't get me wrong, it's a cool collector's item, but it's not a McLaren eating monster. Okay.
Yep. Yeah. Next, you will never be Ken Block.
Yes, you will never be Ken Block. Okay. As much as, and I have to look at Ken Block every once in a while and go, man, well, Ken Block did it, so I'm going to keep pushing. Okay. And I do it. And if you need that little push to get you going, I'm not going to try to get in your way, but I'm going to tell you, you're not Ken Block and you're never going to be Ken Block.
Can never duplicate it.
You can't duplicate it.
You cannot duplicate what either of those guys do.
You can't duplicate Travis. Okay. What they did in the time period they did it in, when they did these things, it isn't going to happen like that anymore. Stop trying to be Ken Block and be yourself.
That's right. Ken Block had a shoe company and he had a lot of money from it.
Yes. Yeah. Also remember that like you can't just go build a Ken Block car. You can't just go build a Gymkhana car the way Ken Block did, unless you are sitting on a ton of money already. Okay. And I think this needs to go into the next one, so you can check this off the list. Nobody is going to sponsor you. Okay?
Yep.
I love you. And I appreciate your effort. Okay? But first off, like, dreams or like, this is what I want to do is drastically different than this is what I have done. You're going to have to do it on your own first. Nobody's going to sponsor you to attempt something unless you have already an insane amount of clout. Okay? And like, there's a bunch of people in here listening right now. I got 40 people in here listening to me. I'm sure some of these people think I got that kind of clout. I don't. Okay? Ken Block could go, I want to build a car to go up Pikes Peak. Okay? And I'm sure, I'm not saying Ken Block didn't have some of his own money into it or whatever, but let's be real. Ken Block had enough pull, with businesses and this and that, that it really wasn't coming out of his pocket. You aren't Ken Block. Nobody is going to sponsor you. If you're this kid who's calling up, I go to a bunch of meets, I want to do time attack, I'm just getting into rally, will you guys sponsor me? No, and nobody's going to. It's the nicest way I can say it. You need to stop trying to get sponsorship unless you really have something to offer. Like that company, stop trying to get sponsorship and really try to make the money first and then go spend it. You have to have something to offer.
Yep. And what do you offer to the company? But
yeah. And Adam's brought some. Aren't sponsors supposed to approach you for your ability? No. I gotta be real. Sponsors, 3/4 of the time, could give 2 shits less about your ability to do something. From a sponsorship standpoint, for the most part, it's either got to be marketing or testing. And can you actually market this product and sell more of it? Or are you going to offer something back to them as far as testing that will be valid for other things that they are going to sell? If you can't offer one of those 2 things, don't try. And again, you're not Ken Block. Yep. And if you're not Ken Block, you better figure out what your approach is going to be.
Similar point. There is no money in this.
No. Yeah. Okay. That's another
racing.
One. Look, There's no, especially racing, but yeah, I think this goes into the other. I want to open that up a little more. This never is going to make financial sense. Modifying your Subaru, racing your Subaru, car meets, whatever. It's never going to make financial sense. All this is burning money. You better love it, okay? You're never going to sell this car for as much as it's worth. It's never going to happen, okay? The second you start modifying it, value starts going right out the window. You need to do this for your personal enjoyment. I love this. And I'm willing to put that sort of the resources and effort and money into it. Other people are too, or we wouldn't be having this conversation. But it doesn't make financial sense. If you were to go have a conversation with Warren Buffett about the shit that I do, Warren Buffett will look at you like you are a moron. This is dumb.
And he's right.
We are all dumb. We are all dumb together, though. And that's it. In the end, what you're paying for, and really what you need to look at this as, is you're paying for memories.
That's right.
If you're having a good time with your friends, I got my boy Warranty here. We're hanging out with a bunch of like-minded people. The memories are what you're trying to get. And this
Cannot put a price tag on that.
You can't put a price tag on it. And I had this argument with somebody because they were right. The person said to me, you really need to start thinking about your future. I can't believe you're spending all this money on this. It doesn't make any sense. And what I told him was, when I'm old, I'm going to tell my kids about all the crazy time attack stories of running all over the country and setting records and stuff that I did when I was younger. I'm going to tell my grandkids all about that. When you're old, you're going to tell your grandkids about all the crazy shit that I did.
Yep. No notes.
That's it. That's it.
Related point. Don't build your car for somebody else. Build it for you.
That's a great one. That's a valid point all on its own. Don't build your car for like clout points for other people. Like, that's ridiculous. Build your car for what you want or what you like. You're the one putting the money into it. You're the one who needs to get the enjoyment out of it. Okay? And especially don't build it for whatever the fuck Instagram thinks is right.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? Build it for your enjoyment, what you do with the car. What you want to get the maximum amount out of that. And if you don't know what that is, talk to somebody about it. Talk to somebody who's done it right and wrong. I'm more than happy to have these conversations with people. I am not the only person out there you can have that conversation with. But what you will find a lot of the time, especially with STI guys, that the ones that modify them for big power, we're talking anything over 600 wheel, okay? The majority of them will tell you I had the most fun with my car at 450. And this is why I try to stress to people, 400 to 450 horsepower in an STI is all you... Did I cut out?
Yes, you did.
I'm sorry. But yeah, where did I
this
cut out?
This won't be a problem in the future. You basically right at the 600 to 450 comment.
All right. So either way, yeah, 600... The guys who have modified cars for 600, which they had 450. A 450 horsepower STI is by far the most fun you're going to have with an STI. I'm not saying... If you want to build big power, I will show you the way. And I love ripping down Road America with my big power Subaru. I love it. It sounds great. It does all sorts of crazy shit. Nothing is better than beating Corvettes with a Subaru. It's fantastic. But if you're trying to build a street car and you're trying to get maximum juice for your squeeze, 450 is the answer.
Yep, and that is a ballistic street car.
It is crazy fast. People get hung up on a number. Okay, this is definitely going into our next point. People get hung up on a horsepower number and immediately think more horsepower equals more fun, and it doesn't. And that's my next point. More horsepower does not equal more fun. It is not a direct correlation. I'm not saying more horsepower can't be fun or can't add to the enjoyment, but it's definitely on a curve. It's definitely on a curve.
Decreasing curve, yeah.
And the more horsepower you add, the more it's going to affect your reliability, how much you enjoy the car. There's always trade-offs, okay? And the more horsepower you make, the more you're going to have to trade other things. This is, again, why I'm a big fan of 450, because you don't got to trade much. So,
Next.
yeah.
Used car prices are high, but that does not make Subaru special. There's very few cars that justify the high price.
This is one that I think you and I will disagree with in a little bit. So look, your 2012 STI, orange colored STI sedan that you think is some super rare limited edition, you're not driving to save for the next person because you think it's going to help its resale value. It's not. Okay. It's not saving. Like, it might hold its resale value if you don't modify it, but if you're not enjoying the car, modify it so you enjoy the car or get a different car. Okay? Don't be hung up on resale value. Not only that, do not buy these cars as some like massive investment. Unless you have an 04 STI with like under 10,000 miles that's bone stock, or you have an S209, none of them are really an investment. I'm sorry, they just aren't. If you're trying to keep your Spec B in mint shape, stop. Enjoy the damn car. It's a great car. Enjoy it. Go put a pile of miles on it.
100%
They don't make
agree.
them like that anymore.
No, they do not. Next, this is an obvious one. Mods do not add value.
Yeah, we already kind of went over that, but modifications do not add value to your car. With that stated, there is a little bit of argument to I put an RA block in it versus I put an IAG 550 in it. Which one are you going to trust more if you were to go purchase it yourself? But you're not going to get one-to-one back. Because this has a built block in it, that doesn't mean you're going to get the entire amount of the built block back. In fact, it's not going to add a dime to it. It just may be more likely somebody will buy it if they even know what it is. If they don't know what it is, there's probably a good chance they'll be less likely to buy it. The more you try to explain it, the worse it's going to be. Value is in the eye of the beholder, and that may not help value in any way, no matter how awesome your mods are. You got a set of Volks with a Varus wide body kit and all sorts of, Voltex this, that, and the other, and Arc this and that, and some crazy built motor with a really expensive turbo and Recaro seats and all this shit. It's still a 2012 STI sedan.
Next one. You and I are going to disagree on this next one.
Yeah.
Most coilover purchases are a mistake.
Yeah, I'm gonna disagree to a small degree. Okay. I believe people mispurchase coilovers a lot.
A lot of it's for the clout because cool kids have coilovers.
A lot of it is because they just want to lower the car. Okay, but the problem, a lot of people quickly ruin their car and not realize it. They don't understand the trade-off of that modification. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So they go and get a set of coilovers because they want to make it go lower, but they really don't understand like what they're doing. And especially if they live in a northern area with really crap roads and the car rides like shit and they don't understand why, I believe well done coilovers with the right intention. Yeah, I believe it's more like a 50-50. I believe a lot. I would go 50% of people improperly buy coilovers, and they're buying them for all the wrong reasons. Honestly, if all they want to do is go to a parking lot, lower the damn car, and slam the thing on the ground, go get Racelands. Go get max speeding rod coilovers, because it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how nice the coilover is. It's gonna ride like a bag of absolute shit because of the way you're gonna set it up.
Yep.
But if you're trying to put something together that's quality, still has a decent ride, but you understand the trade-off is going to be, it will be a little firmer, but or you're looking for lap time or whatever. If you're in it for the right reasons, I truly believe a set of coilovers is the right answer, even over a set of lowering springs and shocks and all of that.
Next one.
I got a good question out there I want to answer real fast. Octo, would you would stock struts lowering strings be a better trade-off? Josh says yes. I'm going to say no in most cases because most of those stock shocks are not happy when you lower them outside of where they want to be. Okay.
Your 2010 naturally aspirated Forester you got handed down by your mom is not a good vehicle to mod.
Yes. Look, guys, I know we say this all the time. Subarus are like Legos, and they really are. Okay. If you look at it from a really base point of view, all right, Subarus really only have two engines. They got a 4-cylinder and a 6-cylinder. We'll say 3, okay, because we got FAs and EJs. All right, Subarus really only have 3 transmissions: a 6-speed, a 5-speed base transmission, so split case, 5 speeds. That includes the WRX 6-speed, and an auto, okay, which would include the CVT. They all use basically the same kind of rear diff, same types of suspension, depending on what generation it is. They're all really similar, okay? But with that stated, that doesn't make it real easy, and it gets real wild when mechanically you can bolt a bunch of shit in, but making that work is near impossible, especially when you get 2008 or newer. If so, your mom handed you down the family Forester. You got a 2010 Forester, naturally aspirated auto, and you've seen crazy Subarus being modified, doing wild stuff, and you want to go all in on this. Stop. You are better off. I know you feel like I have this in my hands, so this is what I should start with. Get a different chassis. That is a great daily. Use it as a daily. Go get yourself a chassis that makes sense for this. Whether it be an
ERZ,
Impreza or
WRX.
whatever. WRX, Impreza base thing, go get a GC. Go get, if you can swing and get an STI, whatever you want to do. Figure out what you're trying to do. Talk to somebody about it. Figure out what chassis makes sense. There is no building your 2010 NA Impreza automatic into something performance based that makes any sense at all. You will spend so much more converting it into something you can do something with versus either selling what you have and getting that, or just going to buy it outright. Will save you tons of money. Just don't do it.
I don't like a lot of show cars, but man, one of my favorites was an old Outback that was slammed and really, really well done.
Yeah.
So
I'm all for that if you know what you're trying to do with it, but I'm talking literally from a performance standpoint. Show cars a little different. This is the thing I always had a problem with Stance. Stance pissed me off because they wouldn't go and stance their mom's 2010 Forester automatic. I would have been okay with that because then what you just did is save an STI from getting ruined. But they would go take an STI and they would ruin that and then try to argue that's okay. And it's not. That car's ruined now.
Yep. Next one. Some of the best mods. Let's not even qualify it. The best mod is seat time.
Yeah. No, I'm still gonna agree with that. The best modification you can make for turning a faster lap time in almost every situation is seat time. People tend to pass up. They're so quick to, I need to modify to do this or do that. I need to build my car for this, when really what they should be doing is going to the track. If your plan is to get on track and try to learn this game, or you just want to go turn laps, or you don't need to, you're better off doing the basics and getting yourself, buy a helmet, buy some brake pads, get your ass to the track. We'll talk about, you don't even know what you're modifying half the time. If you haven't been there and done it, you need to set a baseline of what that would even be. But seat time before mods almost every time.
Yep. Next, it doesn't take $1 million to make these cars look good.
No, I agree with that. You're really big on that OEM plus kind of vibe, which
Sure.
I'm for. I'm for that. It doesn't really take a lot. You got people talking wide body this and all sorts of stuff. The older the car gets, the crazier people tend to get. I think that's a little bit more of an eye of the beholder thing. But
Well,
here's what I am gonna say. Unless we're talking about a BRZ, which I think is classically decently good looking. Um, all Subarus are ugly. Okay, they just are. And honestly, like the the older Subarus, GCs, Bug Eyes, things of I'll even throw the hatch in there, 08 STIs, stuff like that. They're ugly cars, but they were almost, because they were so ugly by conventional standards, they tended to it was kind of a face, it was like a bulldog, you know what I mean? It's so ugly, it's kind of cute.
Yep.
Um
Sure.
and you could get away with that. But as Subaru kept progressing and trying to make a car that looked better, it got more and more boring. Now, I'm not saying there aren't certain lines on certain cars that are decent, okay? Like, I think the VA is probably the least displeasing. The VA STI is probably the least displeasing Subaru to look at, but it's not a pretty car
Yeah, I
by
agree.
when we all look at these cars in 30 years, you look at an old Ferrari, okay? That's a beautiful car. Those are beautiful cars. We're gonna, in 30 years, we're gonna look at a Subaru, and it's still not gonna be a good looking car. We may have fond memories of it. We are not going to be excited about it because it's pretty. It's not a pretty car. These are ugly cars. The quicker you come to terms with the car is ugly, the faster you'll come to terms with, I'm gonna go drive this car and have a good time with it. It is
There
not
you
a
go.
work of art.
That's the essence of Subaru right there. I was saying it for a slightly different point, which is there are a lot of comments on Reddit that people don't want to buy the BRZ, for example, because they can't afford to modify it. And that is just missing the point completely. It is such a
Comple-
good car stock. You can make
I
it a little
agree.
better, sure, but you are missing the point if you can't
Literally
afford to mod it.
a stock BRZ with a slightly better set of tires, and it is all you need to have a good time.
Yep.
Even a stock BRZ, just stock, you're gonna have a good time. When you drive that car, it will be entertaining. People are so hung up. Again, that goes back to one of the other things we talked about earlier. Horsepower does not equal fun. A
Totally
stock
agree.
2-liter BRZ is still entertaining as hell to drive.
And it's slower than a minivan.
It's slower and shit. But if you take that on a back road, you will have a frickin' riot. A lot of it is whatever environment you're in. You know what I mean? But yeah, you do not need a ton of horsepower to have a good time, and you don't need a ton of suspension to have a good time. You can just go have a good time, and they're a lot of fun. They're
That's
just,
right.
I'm telling you, you should be looking at how a car makes you feel and how entertained you are by that vehicle more than getting hung up on numbers.
That's right.
And modifying for entertainment value, I can tell you right now, you will have so much more fun. What's going to give me the most smile per dollar is how you should be modifying.
Yep.
At least with a street car, okay? It's a totally different thing. If we're talking race car, by all means, we need to be talking about quantifiable things. But if we're talking about a street car, which a vast majority of our customer base is, okay, I can't stress enough. Smiles per dollar is what you should be doing. Do not get hung up on numbers. Get hung up on, how do I feel when I drive this car?
Yep. Next one. You need a daily driver.
Oh my God. Ah!
This one's
you
personal because I held out for so many years.
God, you need a daily driver, okay?
You're going to modify your car.
Now, look at it. I'm going to say this, okay? So let's say you buy an STI because you didn't want to buy a Camry. I appreciate you. If you're going to keep it very basic tune, stage 1 warranty style stuff, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Like,
that's me.
very, very basic stuff, that can still be a daily driver. But the second you start trying to race your daily driver, it's not a daily driver anymore, okay? Go get a daily. Because it's the second you start looking at this as a performance tool, or you're trying to do more with it than it was originally designed for, not only does that come with risk, but you're also going to have to make compromise. And screw compromise. You should be able to get in that car and you get what you want out of it. And one of the keys to doing that is knowing you can get to work on Monday.
Yep, 100% agree.
I'm not saying you got to go get a nice daily, but you should have a daily. Get a daily. Don't touch it. This is why I like 2-liter NA cross tracks. Okay? They're great.
With a manual.
With a manual. You can't modify them. They're slower in balls. They're hammer reliable. They're great.
Yep. When I had motor troubles,
jacked up on Mountain Dew.
When I had motor troubles during COVID, thank God I was working from home every day, but still, I did all my errands by bike, and I got into really good shape, but that was hard because it was pretty cold outside.
Yeah. And that's because you committed the cardinal sin.
Modified my daily.
Heavily modifying your daily.
Such a mistake. I might never do it again.
Yeah, you will.
Won't commit one way or the other.
100% will. I'm going to screw it up too.
I think everybody that I know in this community would be really happy for me to drive a modified car again, but I'm going to take my sweet ass time.
Nah, we'll get you there.
Next, a 14-second car is not slow, and a 10-second car is not fast.
Oh, this is a spicy one that I put in our chat. Look, first off, a 14, like, I'm going to be real. You could even kill yourself in a cross track being stupid. Okay. And that's like an 18.5 second car in the quarter. Okay. A 14-second car. So we're talking BRZs, unmodified kind of, or basically unmodified like WRXs, people who can't drive STIs, whatever. 14-second cars, right? It's not a slow car. That gets you into a lot of trouble real quick. A 14-second car will still do, 130 plus miles an hour. It can get you into a lot of trouble, okay? Or you can have a lot of fun with it and clear ground extremely fast if you know how to drive it. It is still a very capable thing.
That's right.
Okay, the next thing though, a 10-second car. So let's say you do a bunch of mods to your STI and you get that thing moving. We get you a 500 wheel horsepower STI and you know how to drive it. You ain't shit in the real world. I gotta be real, man. It's some good old boy in a Fox body Mustang with a junkyard truck LS motor and a Wu-Tang war whistle is gonna show up and annihilate you. They'll run mid-8s all day long without even trying, and they're not even fast. Okay, speed is a completely relative thing.
Horsepower's come a long way in the last 10 years, and
horsepower has come a long way in the last 10 years, but things have also went way up in weight. But what I'm really trying to get at with this is this really goes back to smiles per dollar. Okay, horsepower does not equal fun. Okay, but you don't need a million horsepower to get you in trouble or do pretty much anything you want to do. And even if you do have a million horsepower, you're probably still going to be slow. Okay, so it's
I got you. If you get a 10-second car, how often are you pouring on the horsepower and going 10 seconds? Not very often. And second of all, there is always somebody faster than you on the road.
Here's the other reality to it too. Okay, so you've got your 14-second car and you're bombing around the mountains having a great time. Your foot's to the floor all the time. Your average speed probably pretty high because you're being real dumb and you're getting everything out of it. 10-second car. Well, this thing's got a really crazy clutch, a giant turbo. The power band's kind of meh. It really kind of sucks on the street, really. You're going to be driving that car around slower than most people's cross tracks until you do get on the gas and you're going to clear an insane amount of ground really fast and you're going to have to slam on the brakes almost immediately.
Yep.
This is why we're going back to it again, 450 horsepower STIs. They're perfect.
Perfect. Next. Boost is not a measure of horsepower. It is a measure of resistance.
I hate this so much. I get this all the damn time. Look, people, you need to understand what the hell boost actually is, okay? All the time, I will get hit up. How much boost can this engine take? I don't know. Are we talking about a TD04? Are we talking? Are you on the surface of the sun? Are we talking about a 42R? A stock O2WRX TD04 at 14 pounds will make 220 horsepower. My G35 1050 at 14 pounds will make 520 to the wheels. You know what I mean? Like, what are we talking about? Boost is a measurement of resistance. It is not a measurement of airflow, and it is definitely not a measurement of horsepower. People think that high boost immediately means big horsepower. I'm going to take the small turbo, I'm going to make it make 30 psi, and since that other turbo is making 30 psi, I'm going to make 1,000 horsepower. That is not how it works. It's not how it works at all. It is a measurement of resistance. And more boost just breaks shit. I got to be real. Yep. Boost is a measurement of resistance. More resistance means more heat. More heat means more knock. More knock means more broke.
Next, you cannot build an everything car.
Oh, God, this is another good one. You can't build an everything car, okay? Now, I am going to say there's an asterisk next to this. You can do just about everything in a 450 horsepower STI and have a very good time with it. But you are not taking a 450 horsepower STI, wandering into street mod and winning. Okay? Or even wandering into street with some of the shit those kids are doing now. And I'm saying these as time attack classes, but and winning. You're not, unless you really aim at whatever it is you're doing. That's going to become a shit street car, a crap drag car. It will not work for rally. Okay? You can't build a car to do everything. All right? If you want to make a whole ton of horsepower, that thing's no longer a daily. If you want to make a track car, it's not going to make a great drag car. You have to pick a direction. Okay? And if you're not sure what that direction is, there will be compromise. That's okay. You want to build a car that you can try a bunch of stuff? Actually, a Subaru is an absolutely fantastic platform to do that in. If you want to dip your toe into a bunch of things. But then you need, once you say, yeah, I think I want to do a little more of this, you need to pick a direction. You need to pick a direction. And there's no such thing as it's going to be a good drag car and a time attack car. It's not a thing. It just isn't a thing. As much as I want it to be, it's not. That doesn't mean I don't want to try to take Boogie and run it on a drag strip sometime. I so desperately want to do it.
It'd be a great time. Next. This one's a little outdated because of Cobb green speed, but there are very few reasons to go catless. You're just a dick.
Yeah, especially if it's a street car. We're not talking race cars here, but if it's a street car, modern day cats flow extraordinarily well. Okay. Running catless, it does stink. Okay. You are polluting the air. You're being an asshole. And for what? Why does your street car need to be catless? What are you proving? Run a cat on your damn car. Personally, and I don't know if Josh is going to agree with me on this or not. I think street class, all of the in street class, I think you should have to run a Jesse cat.
Yeah, I agree with that.
I think if we were to try to start making a differentiation between street and street mod, I think that's a big one. Yep. I think they should run a cat.
I agree.
I
could see an argument for street modified as well.
I have what's a cat? We're talking about a catalytic converter. Okay.
Yeah,
so
it reduces emissions within your exhaust.
So, I would even be willing to say I would be down with street mod having to run a cat. I would be down to put a cat. I would be down to put a cat in our system. I would even be down to recirculate our wastegate into our downpipe, so all exhaust had to flow through the cat. I would be very okay with that. Yep.
I would allow aftermarket ECUs. I would put a full interior back into the car. I would allow the aero how it is now, recirculated wastegate, and a catalytic converter. Other than that, don't change it.
Yeah, I think the catalytic converter and everything going through the cat, exhaust has to go through the cat and exit behind the driver, I think would be a very fair thing.
Yep.
And the argument may be like Street has to put it in the stock location. Street Mod has the ability to move it around. There's some small stuff you could do.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Street Modified, we're doing a little more. Street force it to be in the stock location since they have to run stock location turbos and stuff like that. I think it's a great idea. I think it's an absolutely fantastic idea.
That's a great idea. We should tell Adam. I'm sorry. We should tell Abram.
Nope, we're gonna tell Adam. Abram will blow me off.
Next, speaking of blowing me off, higher weight oil is not better. Oh, I think I lost him.
No, I'm here.
You're so mad you didn't even comment.
I'm mad. I actually screamed. It probably cut out. I'm mad. Damn it. Okay, so okay. Depending on how your engine is built and what you're doing with it, there is an argument to be made here. And I know your argument's going to be, oil pressure, this, that, and the other thing. It doesn't, but it does, depending on how much you say your piece, and then I'm going to counterpoint you.
Oh, okay. All right. First of all, neither of us are tribologists, which is the science of lubrication. I just have a strong opinion that slightly lower weight oil actually transfers heat out of the engine a little bit more efficiently because it's a little thinner and it can just move a little quicker. Now, there's a justification for higher weight oil, but people just say, well, I need my car to survive more, therefore I'll put higher weight oil in it. No, it doesn't work that way. It's not that simple.
I agree with you to a certain degree. Now, here's what I am going to say. EJs should be on a 5W40, and they're not because Subaru was trying to take an old-ass 90s engine and trying everything it could do to make it as efficient as possible to get through federal gas mileage standards. Okay, it has been proven time and time again a 540 is what you should run in that. Okay, you want to make an... You want to make now, I'm not saying you should put a 1550 in there, but a 540 is a very good idea. Okay. Not only that, we have proven just through the shit that Juice and I, my buddy Jeremy Bailey, have put FA20s on track through, that if you go to a 530 on that, they tend to survive quite a bit better under extreme conditions like hard track use.
Yep, okay. I agree with that too. But just put 0W30 in it. It's got better cold start.
That's fine. I'm talking about the end weight. Let's just call it 30 weight then. Do you feel better?
Fine. Yes.
Okay. Holy crap. Now, if your engine builder says, hey, if you're going to the track, you should probably put 1550 in this, you know what you do? Exactly what the fuck your engine builder told you to do. If you're going to the track with one of our, like a D-stroker or something like that, I'd really like you to run some and you're on one of our EJs. I'd really like you to run some 300V, at least 540, but depending on what's going on, probably some 1550. Our engine builders would really appreciate it. So please do that.
I've had this conversation with your crazy engine builder, and he was like, oh, there's probably a point to that, but we're just going to stick with this anyway, just for safety. So that's... we're arguing to agree, but we're seeing two sides of the same story.
Yeah,
but
whatever.
Again, I am not a scientist. This is just an opinion.
The person you were talking about, I trust his opinion more than just about anybody on this planet.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I do. So that's why ultimately I listen to him. So.
Okay. All right. Continue on.
The number of times Dewey has been told, when I get my car done, I'll show you. 1,000 times. There is no credit for saying what you're going to do. You only get credit for doing things.
Yeah. Don't talk about it, be about it. The amount of times people have said, I'm going to mop the floor with your ass when my shit's done, or when I get this done, yada yada. And this is with everything, but I hear this shit all the time. All the time. When I get this done, I'm going to be right there with you. I hear it a lot in grid life, but I hear it all over the place too. People building shit. Until you've done something, you haven't done shit. It ain't a thing till it's a thing. Okay?
Yep. Do or do not, there is no try.
Yeah, do or do not, there is no try. And this is also, if you're talking about, well, I'm going to be doing this thing, I don't understand why I can't get sponsorship. Because you haven't done anything. Do things.
Yep. Next. All-wheel drive only helps when you're on the gas.
Yeah. Okay. Here's a great one. Guess what? All-wheel drive helps with traction to get you moving. Okay. And there is some handling dynamic stuff to it. But for the most part, it's traction to get you moving in a forward direction. Now, you may be able to turn the wheel and change that direction a little bit, but a forward direction. All-wheel drive does not help you stop better. It just doesn't. Anybody who wants to argue that, I'm sorry. It just doesn't. Okay? Yep. All-wheel drive also adds a pretty significant amount of weight. Okay? And in a Subaru, because it's all-wheel drive, compared to a BRZ, which is not, the engine sits really far forward in front of the front axles. So it's also really, yeah, you might have all-wheel drive and you can, you got 3 diffs working for you, but you also got weight in a bunch of in a bunch of areas you don't really want it. Handling dynamics are going to be a little weird. In low traction situations, all-wheel drive is fantastic. And high traction situations, all-wheel drive may not help. Okay? All-wheel drive does not make up for you having bad tires. All-wheel drive does not make up for you having shit brakes. All-wheel drive does not make up for you being a shit driver. Okay?
Yep. Next, all-season tires are no-season tires. This one people already know. Worth repeating.
Yes. For God's sakes, all-season tires, again, I'll scream this and scream this and scream this. All-season tires, they exist for your mom's Camry because she doesn't know any different. Okay, there's really no such thing as a good all-season tire, in my opinion. They are no-season tires. If you care about performance in any way, you want summer tires, and if it gets cold enough, you want winter tires. If you live in a place that does not get cold, like in Tennessee, I might see only like a week of sub, 30-degree temps. On my BRZ, I never take summer tires off. I never do. I just don't drive the car when it's cold.
Yep.
I disagree with you, Mr. Bailey. All seasons do not have a place. The only place they should be is 80 million tread wear tire for a car I don't give a shit. I don't care. I don't care about that tire. I'm not bringing you on here.
Even then, you should have some amount of grip in your daily.
I agree.
Not just hockey pucks.
I agree. Again, but like, I keep all season tires on the cross track because there's situations where I need to drive that to Chicago.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And I'm transitioning through climates, but I don't really care about performance with that car. Okay. If performance is even a single consideration to you, you want winter tires and summer tires.
Yep.
Okay. I will give that to you, Bailey. Yes, there is a place.
From the chat, 2-wheel drive with proper tires is better than all-wheel drive with no seasons. That is 100% true. I can see an argument in the dry weather and in the snow.
Yes.
Next, good tires hide bad drivers.
Absolutely. This is one of those things. If you're new to taking your car to the track, do not buy what are quickly becoming referred to as Super 200 treadwear tires or Hoosiers or something like that, because you're looking for ultimate grip. It's going to cover up you as a bad driver. Get yourself some actual 200 treadwear tires. Like a Hankook RS4, a Falcon 615K plus.
Yep.
Something along those lines.
Something that's track rated that Tire Rack approves for track use, but does not have to be sticky, glue.
You're not there for lap time. You're there for what you're more worried about, like a handling dynamic situation. They're going to be significantly more grippy than whatever you had stock, but do not go buy the stickiest tires you can. It will cover up your bad driving.
Totally agree. Another comment from the chat, Josh Halka, good cars hide bad drivers. I actually agree with this one too.
100%. 100%. People go buy these insane monsters. And that's a great one from Josh. Even an STI. Let's just take a basic STI.
Yes.
It's insane how fast you can go with a basic STI, and then you compare it to some dude with a Miata who's driving the wheels up a BRZ. Stock power BRZ who's driving the wheels off of that thing.
Mm-hmm.
just because you can turn a faster lap time in your STI does not make you a better driver, especially in STI, because that car is extraordinarily capable.
Yep. Yeah, the BRZ out of the box from OEM, it's not perfect, but man, it is really good, and you can learn a lot driving that car.
It's a really good time. Yours is a riot on track stock. It
So
ain't
good. I'm not going
perfect.
to change it. I
It
have
ain't perfect.
PS4 tires, but I'm going to get something that's track rated according to Tire Rack. That'll be my next set
Yeah.
of tires.
Again, I take some of that a little loose. If you're going to your first track day, okay, and you got some PS4s, this guy's brand new, okay? So the guy that you were talking, he literally is brand new, okay?
Okay.
If you need to go to a couple of track days on your PS4s and you have those, go to some track days in your PS4. When you start looking for lap time and really start hitting it, you're doing full 20-minute sessions on full kill.
Yeah, you're
That's
right.
when you don't use PS4s.
Got
But
it.
at
Okay.
that point, you're not going to want to use PS4s.
No,
Right? You're
they're not
already
the
going to
tire
be
for
talking
it.
about better tires.
Let's back up then. PS4S tires are some of the best you can buy for all performance conditions: rain,
I
dry,
agree.
and light duty track use.
Very light duty track use, absolutely. And I tell you what, they're some of the best rain tires, period. And I will argue with Tire Rack on saying, because it'd be rain use, if you have a set of those off to the side as a rain set for track use, I truly believe they're fantastic. And I bought them from Tire Rack by their recommendation, are the Continental DW, whatever those things are. They're basically PS4S, but Continental version. Again, as a rain tire, I don't use them for anything else, but I have a set that goes with Boogie at all times, because if it rains during a podium sprint, we need a good tire for it. And it's significantly better than your typical Super 200 tire in the rain.
Totally agree. Got a little bit of
It's
tire
not
arguments in
four
the chat.
season, Bailey. That I know that's what you're trying to get at. It is not a 4-season tire.
Pilot Sport 4S, and I guess the S stands for Sport again. I don't know. I don't remember.
Yeah, it's because they had the PS4
Generation
then
4.
the PS4S. So
Yes.
it was a level above their normal S. That is a summer tire only.
Michelin makes an all-season tires like PA4, and it came on the C8 Corvette. It's a high performance all season, but still, it's the smartest kid on the elementary school bus. So
yes, that's what we'll go with.
Yep. What do we got next? Using stages about power packages and the like when talking about things does not make you sound smart. It's just confusing. Subarus have two stages and a bunch of details.
And they don't even really have two stages. It's like if you're in a parking lot meeting with a bunch of Subaru guys and you say, "Hey, the car's," basically, you have to put some surrounding information. Okay, so I got Cobb's Stage 2 package. I know what that is. Yes. Okay, if you were to just say my car is Stage 2, that can mean a lot of different things. But this is where it really pisses me off. I want a Stage 2 clutch. What the actual fuck does that mean? Okay, and I ran into that literally today, a couple hours ago, with this kid with a BRZ, which nice enough guy, but he's like, I want a Stage 2 clutch. What does that mean? Like, I'll give you an example. A Stage 2 Exity clutch is a ceramatic puck clutch that is awful to drive. Okay, a Stage 2 competition is a full face organic clutch that's fairly easy to drive. Then you have a let's say an ACT HDSS, which is very comparable to the Stage 2. Now, Exity, their Stage 1 HD, competition Stage 2, and the ACT HDSS, those are all comparable product. And they're all called three different things. What the fuck is a Stage 2 clutch? It doesn't mean I need Stage 2 parts for my stage. I need a Stage 2 clutch for my Stage 2 tunes with some Stage 2 tires and a Stage 2 turbo. Like,
I wish
it's not how it works.
I wish it did. We could have a lot of fun with that.
It's just man, stages. And Subaru guys, I love you. I love you all. I love you.
Michelin tires are PS4S is stage 2 tires, by the way.
Yes, those are stage 2 tires. So, um, I love Subaru guys, but we're the worst about this. We're the worst, and you hear it from other owners, like other car groups, talking when they make fun of Subarus. They make the joke about us vaping and like, yeah, my car's stage 2, bro. Like, you guys are making this problem. Stop it. Quit.
Man, okay. The last one. Oh, we're getting towards the end here. Instagram is not a good place for information.
Yeah, this is a big one, guys. And this feeds into the RA block being some like master race block or some crap. And Instagram is a shit place to get your car information. Instagram's a cool place to see a bunch of cool shit. Notice I said see. There's not a lot of conversation on Instagram. It's really cool for sparking ideas. It's cool to spark conversation with it. Now, I am going to say Facebook is better for information, but Facebook ain't even great either. Facebook's really bad about forgetting things, but at least you can have a conversation about whatever a picture or something is, before it forgets.
Yep.
Nasiak's great, and Nasiak was so much better for holding information, but Nasiak is dead. It's all very old information now.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yep.
So my recommendation, if you see something, especially if it seems off, remember, here, let me put it. RA blocks are the easiest way to explain this. I hate going down this road again, but somebody puts up a dyno graph of a car or a short video of a car making 600 horsepower in an RA block. There's no conversation about this. Okay? How long did it last?
Right.
Did it have
It's
head
straight
studs?
to-
What fuel
Yeah.
were you using? Were you running a ton of boost and no timing, or a ton of timing and no boost?
Right.
What is the full, like, there's no conversation about this. Do you plan on it lasting any amount of time? Was this done for the memes or not? How many blocks have you had in here? How long did it take you to figure out how to do this? What engine management is it on? Who tuned it? Where is it tuned? What dyno was it on? None of these conversations actually come up. It's just somebody sees, holy shit, they made 600 horsepower on an RA block. Hey, Dewey, I need an RA block. Why? Because somebody made 600 horsepower in an RA block, so I can too. No! And that's how it's. Instagram is a great place to start a conversation. Now, if you were to come back and go, hey, I'd be real, man, I just saw this, we were talking about an engine build or whatever, but I just saw this dude make like 600 horsepower in an RA block. Is that all I really need? Then we can have a conversation about it. Have that conversation out on the internet somewhere, okay? But also vet the damn information that you are getting. Everybody who says they're an expert on the internet is not, okay? And everything that comes out of my mouth, take it with a grain of salt. Okay, yeah, I work at IAG. They hired me, and they seem to think I know something, But with that stated, do your own damn research. Ask a couple of different people. Learn some shit. Try to understand how stuff works. There's also more than one right answer in a lot of situations. There's also significantly more than one wrong answer in a lot of situations.
Yep. Totally
Chris
agree.
with the STI. That's actually a good. I'll answer that question real quick. What's better, more boost with less timing, or more timing with less boost on ethanol fuel? I'm going to tell you every time. I'd rather, if you're trying to keep the car reliable, you want to go more boost, less timing. Okay. And I'm pretty sure most tuners would agree with that.
Yeah, there's essentially one optimal timing, and then that's
Yes.
it. It's not even when you stop making power. It's actually a little bit earlier than that, but
Yeah.
if it's
I'm
just
not a-
after
I'm
that,
not
you
a
just throw
tuner,
boost
though.
at it.
I'm not a tuner. Talk to your tuner.
Yep. Next, going to the track isn't racing.
Yeah, it's a great one. Look, just because you're going to the track, especially I think Chris with the STI is a guy we've been talking to a lot about new tracks. I want you to understand, Chris, going on the track is not racing. Going to the track is going to a road that you don't have a speed limit. Going to the track is you being in a controlled situation for you to go find the limits of your vehicle. Doesn't mean you're racing.
Yeah.
Okay.
You can go 5/10 if you want, 50% effort.
You can go out there. I mean, you remember Subaru Speed Expo? We had people out there with stock automatic Foresters on all season tires. Their first time on track ever, going 5/10, just enjoying, going at a clip and not having to worry about a cop pulling them over. And you know what? That's great. If you go there and you just want a back road with some corners that you don't have to worry about, that's a very valid option. If you're going there to learn, how to, car control and high speeds, or even figure out how to make time, that's great. That doesn't mean you're racing. Okay. Right. And don't call it racing either, because you just sound like an asshole. I'm going racing this weekend. No, you're not.
You don't have to go out and try to get every last tenth out of the car. You can still learn a lot without, almost crashing.
Well, not only that, you can. This is something that's really hard for people to understand. You can go to the track and get 9/10 out of the car and lift most of the way down the straight, so you're not, risking your engine every time you go down the straight.
I tried doing that.
Go slower down the straight and enjoy the corners. You can do that.
I've totally done that. That's enjoy. Good point.
Just go and have it like you're there to learn. When you go to the track, you should always be there to learn. You should always be open to being taught. Always be open to being taught. I guarantee somebody there is faster and they know more and they're probably willing to help you. Roger Penske is not there. The ghost of Ken Block does not give a shit. Okay, go there and learn. Go there and learn. You're not on a timeline to have to, kill yourself and make time. Go to the track, low stress, have a good time.
The memories you make with this car will be more important than the numbers it makes.
I kind of said this earlier, but
bears repeating.
Again, I also said if you only get one thing out of this, it's this. This is the other thing I want you to understand. When you're modifying these vehicles and having a good time with these cars, the memories you are making with these cars, that is the most important thing. Okay, that's the stuff you're going to remember. Nobody's going to remember you made 620 horsepower instead of 600 because your buddy made, only... Nobody cares. Okay? You're going to remember that crazy trip you took up to the mountains. You're going to remember maybe that Mustang you knocked the deck off of. You're going to remember that track day you and your buddies had and, all the crazy shit that happened in the pits. You're going
to remember spending 8 hours to get one wheel bearing out of the damn crosstrack.
Yeah, or you're going to remember, Dylan and I putting a pirate flag on a water tower at Mid-Ohio. That may or may not have happened. This is the stuff you're going to remember, though, okay? You're going to remember these things. You're going to remember the memories you made with your friends within the community, okay? You're going to remember the community stuff. You're going to and enjoy what you're doing within that. Okay, you should be in this for the memories, not chasing some arbitrary number. The memories mean way more than the numbers.
Yep, and that's it. That's the whole list, man.
That was slightly beautiful.
That was a great time.
Rant. Okay.
Started late and went by very quick.
I kind of have one more because somebody just brought up equal length headers.
Okay, go for it.
Unequal length headers are the sound of inefficiency and stupidity.
Totally agree.
If you don't have equal length headers on your car, it better be because it is bone stock. Okay, and you plan on not modifying it whatsoever.
Doesn't sound good. It doesn't sound good.
It's really not a great sound. I'm sorry. And all you're hearing is inefficiency. That is what you're hearing. So anything past the car is bone stock, and it has to be this way because it's bone stock. If you are modifying that car in any way, put an unequal length header on your car. And yeah, we sell unequal length headers, and nobody's going to listen. Oh, I know how I want to end this.
Okay.
Look, I know I just pissed in a bunch of people's Wheaties. Okay, and I want to be very clear. Modify this car the way you want to modify it. No matter what I said in here, you don't have to listen to any of it. I don't give a shit.
If you think we're saying don't modify it, you're missing the point.
I want you to have fun with your cars because that's really what matters. And if you put an unequal length header on your car is going to bring you that much joy, whatever. Just understand what you're doing, okay? And be prepared for the consequences of me telling you should have put an equal length header on it. But I love this community. we're all going to modify our cars stupid. There's always going to be that guy who's got a 2010 Forester NA automatic who's going to lose their mind and spend $100,000 trying to make it as fast as a stock STI. There's going to be that guy, okay? And we have to support them the same way we support psychopaths like myself, okay? We're one big community, okay? Now, unless somebody is actively damaging the community, I'm not going to mention any names, but there's some people. We need to be supportive of each other. Okay. Unless they're literally like hurting somebody else or bringing something down, we do need to be supportive of each other. It is us versus the world. Okay. Especially within the Subaru community. It's us versus the world. Now, if you're doing stupid things, expect to be told you're doing stupid things, but that doesn't mean we don't support you. It just means we think you're doing stupid things.
Yep.
So, us versus the world. Subarus versus the world. That's what it is. Subarus to the top. Hashtag, what's up? Gang, gang.
All right.
That was fun.
That's great.
God damn it. We love you guys.
We will be back same time, same place next week.
Yep. We'll see you next week. And it's been real. It's been fun. It's been real fun. And see ya. All right, folks. Hope you had a good time and maybe accidentally learned something. If you could do us a solid and please subscribe. And I can't stress this enough. Share. Share the link to the podcast. Tell people about the podcast. Come on the podcast. It's we the more the merrier, and the more people we have, the more guests we can have, the more fun we can have with this. We want to make this a giant happy family. So thanks, guys.